Okay, so can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, good. Okay, today let's go straight into it. Today we're doing pasta e fagioli, which is another one of very humble dish. It really is another peasant dish, and generally because the beans are very easy to grow and very easy also to keep, because obviously you can be dried up and then they will keep for months and months. So it was one of the favorite food that a lot of peasants used to rely on for their subsistence. Okay, so hopefully you are all the ones that are cooking. Can I hear how many people are cooking along today with me? And then we'll take it from there. So anybody's cooking?
Maria has entered the waiting room. Let me just unmute her.
So anybody cooking along with me today?
George is cooking along, Luca.
Oh, fantastic, George. So I just wanted to make sure that for all of those that are cooking along with me, that you have done your preparation with the beans. So if you don't, so let me go through it. So we start with, let's see, for example, here, the pack of dried beans. So what you do, you put them in a colander, you wash them well, and then you place them in a pan and you cover them with cold water. Okay? Sorry, Caterina?
No, Evelyn's saying she's paying full attention to everything.
Okay, good. So you put the beans under cold water and you soak them overnight for about 10 to 12 hours. Okay? This is with all beans, apart from the lentils that we did recently with the lasagna. All other beans like chickpeas, any type of beans, they need to be soaked overnight, okay? If they dried. You can bypass the whole thing by buying a tin of cooked beans. To get to the point now where we got beans that are ready to cook, you can just buy a tin and use cooked beans. But the reason why you use dried beans is that because we normally use beans for a variety of things. So although I'll be using beans today to cook this pasta e fagioli, also I cook more than I need because I'm going to make a salad as well with them. So after having done the pasta fagioli, I'll also show you how to make a very quick summary bean salad. Okay. So I very quickly go through all the ingredients we're going to use. As usual, yesterday, after giving all the ingredients, I've asked you to get borlotti beans. I couldn't find any. So I'm using instead cannellini beans, which are these small white ones. They're very nice and very delicate, and a very, very delicate flavor as well. So we're using 250 grams of dried beans that, when cooked, they become 500 grams of cooked beans. Okay, so roughly, normally you can use a tin. In a tin, there's generally about 400 grams. So you can use one of those. That's close enough. We use one onion, some fresh rosemary, some fresh garlic. Then obviously we'll need olive oil. We'll need fresh other tomato. We're using passata today, but you can use a tin of tomatoes and blend it very quickly. And then we use some salt, some sea salt, pepper, and some dried chili. Okay, and I've got some extra ingredients that I'll use for the salad, and I'll show you those later. The only other ingredient I wanted to show you is the pasta that we need for pasta fagioli. You can use many different types of pasta. Traditionally, you'll see this recipe with short pasta, like kind of like rigatoni, but much shorter. They're normally the Italian rigati, which are about this length, kind of like a bit less than half the size of a rigatone. But today, I'm going to use the lasagna sheets because we have many left from cooking lasagna last week. So I'll be using these and then breaking them in pieces. You can often, to make this kind of dishes, you can use spaghetti or linguine as well, again broken into pieces. So there are many things that you can use. Another pasta that you could use, I bought from the supermarket yesterday. This is another type of pasta. Kind of like it's a short pasta. It's called gnocchi, but it's nothing to do with the the real potato gnocchi. This is just a wheat pasta. Basically any sort of short pasta would do the trick for this dish. Okay, let me see if I've got anything else. I forgot anything else? No. Okay, so we're all ready to go, and we can start cooking. Okay, we only need one pan today, so I'll put this here, and we can start chopping straight away. Oh, by the way, you might have noticed that I kept the cooking water from the beans for a variety of reasons. First of all, I tend to not waste anything. And is there somebody that is not muted? Can you please check, Katerina? I'm just hearing some background noise.
Wendy, if Wendy could.
Yeah, if you can click on her name and then mute her. Yeah.
Here we go. Muted.
Okay. So so I don't hear any background noise. So I was saying I've kept the cooking water because it can be used in a variety of ways. I mean, today's I'll be using it for cooking, but it can also the cooking water from beans, chickpeas, and other types of beans can be used to make other recipes as well. Like for example, you can use it to make chocolate mousse. You can use to make imams, pretty much like egg whites. So you can use to make meringues, for example, or you can use it as a thickening agent on many dishes that you're cooking. So it's very good. So I tend to always reserve it when I cook beans. Like for example, I'll add it when we are cooking pasta after we prepared the beans. I use this water rather than using just hot water from the kettle. Okay, so let's get going. First of all, I will we'll do some chopping. We can organize everything here. Can I?
Okay, Jenny's here. She said she's sorry she's late.
Hi Jenny, no problem. We had some problem at the beginning, so we just about started now. I just went quickly through the ingredients, so you should have all of those. And you're just in time to start cooking with us, so you haven't missed anything. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to go and chop the onion. So I'll take, as usual, the top off. Actually, if you don't mind, I'll take my food waste bin, so it's easier. So let's cut the onions off. I'll peel the outer layer back. So I got a nice handle. And what I'll do some incisions here. One this way as well. And then chop it. This has come a little bit thicker, chop a bit more. That's one piece. That's the other. Oh.
Just getting close on that one.
So this is what I tend to do with all the onions. Okay, I leave a handle at the back, so I can make incisions and just chop once. So you see, I am making incision, but not all the way back. So it's still in one piece. And then I can also do a couple of incisions like this lengthwise. Okay, I still got my handle. Oh, well, now the handle has come off, but it's still in one piece, you see. And now when I chop, obviously it's chopped in small bits because I made cuts already. Apart from the last bit, there wasn't where my knife hadn't really got to. Okay, so we got the onion. Oops. And it goes straight in the pan. I get the fresh rosemary, and I get the leaves off the stem, obviously because the stem is very woody.
All right, Evelyn's just said something. My mum says she thinks beans and macaroni was on every Friday night dish when she was growing up for Catholics. Friday was a no meat day. Beans and macaroni is also the off-dialect named pasta fagioli, or in real Italian, pasta e fagioli.
That's very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. What was this?
That was Evelyn, yeah.
Thank you very much for the commentary. Actually, that's brilliant, and it's very true. Pasta e fagioli is what we call it. Pasta e fagioli is the northern dialect, but this is something like a dish that's cooked all over Italy, not just in the north. And there are regional variations as well. So it's cooked slightly differently in the north as it is in the south. In the north, it's being cooked generally sometimes without tomato sauce. Where in Naples they use a lot of tomato sauce. So it's obviously, this is, as I said, it's a general ingredient that's used all over the country. Sorry, the onions are making me cry a little bit. So don't worry. So I'm now chopping the rosemary as finely as I can. It's fresh rosemary is one of my favorite ingredients. Actually, funny enough, I had a Brazilian friend. They had a completely different use for rosemary that I never heard of. They use fresh rosemary as a relaxing drink to have before bed. So they make a rosemary tea just before going to bed, and apparently that helps you sleep. So you never stop learning uses for herbs and vegetables. It's when you're cooking, when you start cooking, you never stop looking at other people that cook and learning from them, because obviously tradition is good, but it's also good to learn how other people use food.
Yep, we've got another comment from Jenny. Supposedly it's a good tea for migraines, but she hasn't tried it.
For migraines, I've never tried that. Luckily, I don't suffer from migraines, so I can't comment on that. But I love rosemary. We got a huge bush in the garden, so it's easy for us to use it. Okay, so I'm doing now the garlic. I like my garlic to disappear when I'm cooking, so I'll do it with the garlic press. You can also just cut it in slices if you prefer. Okay, I'll give you another press. There's quite a bit left. Okay, this garlic is used too. I'm just double checking if I've forgotten anything. No, I'm all fine. Okay, we can start cooking now then. First of all, so we just got the onion, the rosemary, and the garlic. So we just add some olive oil, just enough to probably about 5. This is about 5 or 6 tablespoons. I'll put it on a low heat too. To gently cook, and we just want to, as usual, we just want the onion to start coloring up, and to soften up a little bit. To help, a little trick to help in the process when you're cooking onions. If you want to speed up the process, just add a pinch of salt, because that softens up vegetable. And to that, I will also add, this is an ingredient that you can use to taste, which is a dried chili. And I like a little bit of heat in this dish, so I'll add a little bit of dried chili. It's completely down to taste. You can use more if you want, or less if you don't like it. This is very strong, so I'm only using really a pinch. But you don't need to use it if you don't want to. Okay, while this is doing, this will take a few minutes now. Let me start talking to you about the fresh salad. As you can see, I've got, these are the beans. I don't know which one's the beans. Sorry, no, these are the beans. These are the beans I'm using for the pasticci. Okay, and I've got just as many because it was a 500 grams packet, and I'm only using half of them for the pasticci. The other half I'll make the salad with. Okay, for the salad, we use another onion, this time fresh, not cooked. We use some celery sticks. Then where are the olives? We will use some olives, some green olives, and then a little bit of garlic again, and then just olive oil. What else? Where are my some fresh parsley? You can go here, and just salt and pepper. So while that is cooking, what I'll do, I'll start getting some of the vegetables out as well, and I can then add them to my salad. So I'll put this here. So I put my fresh cut vegetables in there, and my cup of tea.
And you've stolen that parsley from the rabbits.
Sorry?
I said you stole them from the
By the way,
rabbits.
yeah, we stolen the parsley from the rabbits. Okay, which still I got plenty to eat. So
we feel guilty though.
Yeah, we always feel guilty when we take anything that is dedicated to them. They're free to come and go as they want. Lovely. Okay, so we'll do the same thing with the onion as I normally do.
They don't make you cry as they used to, the onions, do they?
Yeah, it's true. Depending on the onions now, they're not as bad. But I find that the organic ones make you cry a bit more. Okay, with this one, I'm just doing slightly differently, because instead of doing it as we chopped them before, I want slices. I want thin slices of this. So I want the onions to stay in bigger chunks instead of just cutting them as small as we can, as we did before. So I'm not using the same technique. When you're cutting onions like this, make sure that you're using a sharp knife, and make sure that you lead with your nails, so that if you actually hit your fingers, you hit the nails and not the fleshy parts, as this knife is quite sharp, as you can see, and it wouldn't be pleasant to slice part of your finger live on camera. Okay, so these are, this is no cooking involved in this. It's just a fresh summer salad, so we can put the ingredients in there. That one down.
Right, Evelyn has got a message.
Want to comment? Yes, Evelyn.
Oh, lovely. I'm mad about all things Italian. This is from Evelyn. I've just learned this recipe has very old roots. In the beginning, the new American beans like borlotti or cannellini were exclusively served on the tables of rich people and nobles, while the poor and working class kept going to eat the old black-eyed peas imported from West Africa and the Roman Empire era.
That's very good.
It's interesting.
I'm impressed. You know, learning every day. There's another thing actually. I don't know how many people know this about potatoes. Potatoes were seen a little bit like the fruit of the devil, because they were grown underground when they were imported from South America. And although the King of France was trying to introduce them into the French diet, nobody wanted to use them. So to make sure that everybody started using potatoes, what they did is that they planted it in this field, and they built a fence all around the fields, and they put soldiers all around the field just to make everybody understand this was a very precious crop. And from then on, obviously everybody wanted to have it, because it was something that wasn't allowed. So this is the way the potatoes got used then in day-to-day cooking.
And Evelyn has added that it was something interesting she wanted to share. So Italian history and cuisine are so interesting, which obviously we agree with. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Thank you very much. We appreciate any sharing. We can all learn from each other. And by the way, I am not a professional cook. I'm doing things as we do them at home, and so feel free to comment if you can add anything to what I do. It's fun. Okay, here, as you can see, I've got the parsley and I'm chopping. I'm actually using the stems as well. I like to eat the stems of the parsley, but if you don't, just use the leaves. Okay. Parsley is one of the superfoods. So if we could all eat a bit of parsley every day, our health would improve dramatically. Okay, let's go back to this now. Okay, now the onions are pretty much ready to receive the beans. Before I put the beans in, we're going to keep some back. Good catch. Going to keep some back, and I'm going to blend them just to make a kind of like a creamy finish. So just about a little bit like this, and the rest of the beans is going into to take the flavor of the onion, garlic, and rosemary. So we'll cook them for another couple of minutes in there. Always keep it on low heat. Okay. So we keep it in there. With this one, what I'll be doing instead, I'll add some of the cooking water for the beans.
How many ladles?
Oh, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how many ladles that we put in there, because we're going to be adding water anyway to this. So it doesn't really matter. It's just enough so that we can blend them into a cream. Now excuse the noise. If only you could smell it. It's so such a good smell, the garlic and rosemary together. Okay, let's just pour this in as well. Okay, you can see now the difference. It's already adding to the dish. Eh? Okay, so we leave this to take flavor a little bit. What I just want to do, I just want to check for salt, and also for just to check the chili.
Right, George wants to know, what is it that you just added?
Oh, I just
better go through it again.
George, I just put some beans in a blender. You can, and just to make a sort of like a cream. And I've used some of the cooking water of the beans, but you can use water. It's perfectly fine. And then I just poured it in. So it just these are just like blended beans, nothing else. So I haven't added any new ingredients. Okay, so while we do this, I'll carry on with a little bit of preparation for the salad, and I'll be using some olives. So where is my?
Why can't I get on?
I'm just going to obviously see if the olives, so I don't use the water.
Evelyn says, "Yummy! This is a new trick I didn't know."
Which trick is that, Evelyn?
I think it's the frullare, la cosa che è frullato.
Yeah, with the blending, another way of doing it, you just like with a fork, you just press down a few of the beans to create the same effect. So it just basically to use some to release some of the creaminess of the beans. Okay. Well, we've got here a few olives. I'll show you a few more. Add a couple of spoonfuls.
Does it matter on the quantity of olives?
No, the olives you can add to taste. You know, all these dishes just have to give an idea of the ingredients, and then just adjust them to your taste. Just make sure that we have all the water. So what I do, I will be chopping the olives as well. Just keeping an eye on this. This is obviously what's actually starting to reduce. So I think it's time now to do our trick with the pasta. And we'll add it in a minute with water. So what I'll do, I'll break the lasagne in pieces. Quite a fun process to do. Some will be going flying off, no problem. Almost finished.
Look at it, we've done that.
Okay, here's all the lasagna in pieces. Okay, what we do now, we get our passata, or if you're using king tomatoes, just put them quickly in the blender. It's the same thing.
I have a question from Catherine. This is from Catherine. If you were using rigatoni pasta, how much would you use?
It's still the same amount of pasta, 200 grams. 200 grams of pasta. But I'll tend to use, I mean, if you can, Catherine, use something smaller than rigatoni. Rigatoni are big, because you eat this pasta a little bit like a soup. So you need something kind of like smaller pieces than that. So I'll take now a mug, oops. And so I put a mug full of tomato sauce, tomato passata in there. Just let it take a flavor for just literally seconds, about a minute, and then we'll introduce all the pasta in it. Okay, so now it takes the color of the tomatoes as well. And now what we'll do is that we, again, just let it incorporate for a few seconds. Before we put the pasta in, we want to taste it for salt. I need a little bit more salt in there. I'm using sea salt, by the way. Okay, so now I can put the pasta in. And I'll mix it in a bit. And now I want to cover with some hot water. I'm using the cooking water from the beans.
Wendy says it looks delicious.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. You can also use just some hot water, from the kettle. Just if you this water is already salted, but if you're using water from the kettle, make sure that you might need to add a little bit of salt. Just make sure that you taste it once it's in there. Okay. So these are covered now. Covered in water. And what we want to do, we just cover it. If I can find mine. We just cover it and just waiting for the pasta to cook. And while we're doing that, we'll do the other little bit. I've got the celery down yet now. So we'll do some more chopping. We'll get a couple of celery sticks. Then a quick wash. Quickly give them a dry, fresh, clean tea towel. And we're ready for chopping.
So refreshing in this hot weather, aren't they?
Yeah, I love celery in the summer. It's always one of the really fresh vegetable. Makes you feel refreshed when you eat it. Okay, I'll just chop off the edge. It's funny enough. I'll say one of the good habits. Celery is one of the things that our 18-year-olds starting to eat. Francesco can't stop eating. This is because when you give a child good habits, then they just carry them on into adulthood. And that's one of the best gifts you can give your children is if you can teach them to eat well. They'll be healthy for the rest of their life.
We used to be met at school with these vegetables. I don't know if we've told this story.
Oh yes, no, that's true. I've never told this story, but whenever we went to pick them up from school, obviously children are very hungry when they're coming out of school. We always met him with a bowl of fresh raw vegetables, so carrots, celery, garlic, because he loves raw garlic, and other things like that, tomatoes, like cucumber, all like kind of
broccoli stems.
Yeah, all fresh vegetables, and that's the first thing he used to eat. So it's kind of a way of getting them hooked onto vegetables is to give them to them when they're hungry. So when they're hungry, they will eat anything. obviously, and then it becomes a habit. Once it's a habit, you don't have to worry about it because they carry on doing it.
And if we missed it because we were in a hurry, he would ask where his vegetables were.
Very true, very true. It was always like we couldn't let him down then, because
big betrayal.
Yeah, he had to have his vegetables. And this is kind of like funny enough, until recently, until well into his teens, he was still eating his fresh vegetables every day.
He still does.
Even now, obviously now he does it for himself. You don't need to feed in child portions vegetables, but it's lovely to see. It's lovely to see that something worked for our parenting.
This is Evelyn, another message, if I can get in. Evelyn says, thank you so much for the wonderful recipes, for the generous sharing of knowledge. I have also registered in mygenius.com. Excellent way to share your recipes. I can check with ingredients I need to vary at any time.
Fantastic, fantastic, Evelyn. Yes, I thought that's because I was looking for an easy way of sharing both videos and the recipes, and that I found that the easiest way, because they got the library section. Rather than on Facebook, things keep going, disappearing. The more stuff you put on, the more difficult it becomes to find things that you want. So at the moment, I am, as you can see, every week I am posting the video and the recipe cards. I will slowly work my way back through all the dishes that we've already done, and we'll start posting those recipe cards as well. I will soon post, actually, I did a little video for the vegan tiramisu I did a while ago. So I'll soon put the card for that as well. And the little video is only about a 5-minute video. Oh, one thing that I'm not using today, but you can use in this dish as well. You can use some what do you call pickled vegetables as well. So if you got any, you can just like chop them up and just use them as I'm using these. You're right. You can buy some jars of mixed pickled vegetables and just use a bit in there as well. Okay, let's have a look at this pasta in the meantime.
Just have a look.
It's still cooking, so there's still plenty of cooking to go, and it will reduce as well. Now it's very liquid as the pasta absorbs the cooking water. It will also become a little bit thicker. Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, George, you'll be able to tell it tastes really good. Anybody else that's cooking with me? Have a taste of the pasta fagioli. You just have to taste the sauce. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, more comments. Catherine Sparks, are you still on low heat? Yes,
we keep. And it's boiling, so it's bubbling away there. So once it's boiling, there's no point in having any higher. If it's not bubbling, if it's not boiling, then obviously raise the heat a little bit. So this is kind of like it's a mix. Like the salad is definitely a summery, kind of like more of a summery dish. It's nice. It can be eaten cold. Obviously, it's cold. It's very very strong flavors, summery flavors. Where the pasta fagioli is generally like an autumn dish. I mean, obviously you can cook it all year round, but traditionally more like autumn winter dish when not many fresh vegetables were available.
Jenny's asking, are all the recipes shared on genius.com?
Yes, they are, Jenny. And what happened is that I just created that page and I started putting the recipes in there a couple of weeks ago. So as I'm going along, all the new recipes are going on there, and then slowly I will work my way back and put in all the recipes on there. So it will take me a while to put all the recipe on there, but all the new ones are going to be on there. So at the moment we got on there the lasagne and the gnocchi, which are the last two that we did. And all the others will go on as I am cooking them.
And Evelyn has shared the link to Genius U, so thank you very much, Evelyn.
Thank you, Evelyn. Okay, so what else? I'll need to just finish the olives. Pepper. So we got, just as a reminder, because we've been doing this as we're going along. Let me just get a mixing spoon as well. So as you can see now, we got. Can you see, Katrina? So we got the beans. Obviously, they're cooked. We got fresh onion. We got the garlic. You can't see the garlic because I have mashed it. You got celery. You got parsley, and we got olives. So this is it. And you can say you can add some pickled vegetables as well to it as well. I'll be using a little bit of salt. Salt is to taste. Now I've added salt when cooking the beans, so the beans are already salty. This is just for the vegetables. I'm just using a pinch at the moment because the olives are already salty as well. So I've got a little bit of salt, but not too much. And now I'm going to be adding some ground pepper.
So a little teaspoon.
Teaspoon. Again, it's down to taste. Experiment. If you don't like too much pepper, just put a little bit, and then if you like it, just add a little bit more. So I'm quite happy. I'm quite liberal with pepper. And then we get some nice, good quality olive oil. Okay, when you're eating it like this in salad, I'll keep the good olive oil to eat with fresh without cooking. So I use something like this. This is about, I think, I don't know, about £9, I think, per bottle. And I just use it to have on vegetables or on salads fresh. Again, just add it to taste. What you do, you just start mixing. And you can see, if you need to add a little bit more. And I tend to grate the onions as well, so you don't get too much onion in one bite. So I'll just separate them gently. So a little bit more. Okay, and this is ready. Now we just have to taste to see if we need to add any more salt or pepper. There's lots of olives in there, so I don't need to add any more salt. And I'm quite happy with the pepper. So I added 1 teaspoon of pepper in there. I'm quite happy with it. But feel free to add more if you want to. So I can serve that.
Okay, Evelyn's asking if you could go through the ingredients again.
For the salad?
For the salad, yeah.
For the salad, yes. So I've used the cannellini beans, but you can use any beans that you prepared.
The quantity, how much?
What I did is that it doesn't really matter for the quantities. I mean, you can, because with a dish like this, you can just add a bit more, a bit less. It doesn't really matter. But what I did, I started with a 500 grams pack of cannellini beans, and I've used half of it for the pasta fagioli and half of it for the salad. So I cooked them all together and then split them up later. So there's about, in there at the moment, there's 250 grams of dried cannellini beans, and when you cook them, they pretty much double in size. So it's 500 grams of cooked beans or 250 grams of dried beans. Then I have added an onion, 2 sticks of celery, 2 cloves of garlic, a little bunch of parsley, and lots of olives, and all chopped up fresh. And when I finished, I just added olive oil and a teaspoon of black pepper and salt to taste. I mean, I didn't need to add much because I used quite a lot of olives in there. And the beans, I had added salt in the cooking water for the beans. So it was already quite salty, so I just added a pinch of salt. But just add it to taste, honestly. What I'll do when I'm dressing salads, I taste them until I'm happy. So I'd rather not tell you the exact amounts, because it's something that's down to taste. Some people like more salt, some people like less salt, people like more pepper, less pepper. So just taste, just address it until you're happy.
Evelyn says thank you for that.
This is the finished dish.
Looks very nice.
Okay, so this is a summary bean salad as a little extra.
Let's go back to this.
So just going down to this. Give it a stir. The lasagna is still actually being cooked. It's still not completely done. I just want to make sure that they're not sticking. Cannellini beans are quite delicate, so I don't want to stir them too much, because otherwise they just fall apart. So I will leave it for another few minutes.
Okay. Do you want to go through the ingredients that you put in there?
Yeah, I will go through the ingredients of these as well. It tastes so good, though. I have to have a little taste. Okay, so I use cannellini beans. You probably will have borlotti beans, because I've asked you to get those, but I couldn't find them. I finished working very late last night, and I couldn't find them in a supermarket. So I use cannellini beans. Then we used 1 onion, which I chopped up finely and I put in there, together with rosemary. I like a fresh rosemary, 2 or 3 little branches of fresh rosemary, and a couple of cloves of garlic. Again, garlic you can use to taste. You can use more or less. I used 2 in there. They were quite big, actually, so equivalent maybe to 3 regular ones. So I got then I put olive oil, and I started gently pan frying on a low heat the onion, garlic, and the rosemary together. Once the onion had colored up and gone a little bit kind of like a yellowy transparent look, I then added the beans, let them cook for a couple of minutes, and I kept a couple of spoonfuls of the beans and I put them in a blender with some of the bean cooking water. Or if you haven't reserved the cooking water for the beans, you can use a little bit of water. Doesn't really matter. I blend them together and I added them in. Then I let them cook for 2 or 3 minutes. Then I added about 1 mugful. You can use 1 glass, depending on how much you like tomato. You can use a bit less or a bit more, but let's say about 1 glass of passata, which is about 250 grams. And that would be equivalent to, if you're using tin tomatoes, it will be kind of like an half a tin of tomatoes. If you use tin tomatoes, put them quickly in the blender and then pour them in. Once I had done that, I let them again just take the flavor from the tomatoes for a couple of minutes. And then I put the, I use lasagna sheets that I broke into smaller pieces. And then I put it in there and I added hot water. In this case, again, I use the cooking water for the beans, as you already add the right amount of salt, and it's part of, you know, you have the flavor from the beans already. If you haven't saved that, or if you're using tinned beans, then add some hot water to the dish. And then just we let it now, just waiting for the pasta to be cooked, and the dish will be ready. The only other ingredients that we will add at the end is just like a sprinkle of pepper. Oh, and one thing I forgot, when I did the soffritto, I also added a little bit of dried chili. Again, this is an optional ingredient. It depending if you like a little bit of heat in your dish or not. You can do it with or without. There isn't possibly, if you look on the internet, you look at the recipes. Not many will have dried chili, but I quite like it, so I always add a little bit. I like to have a little bit of heat in my throat after you've had a spoonful. You got that kind of like remaining lingering heat, which I find really nice. Okay, so we are, as you can see, starting to get quite thicker as well now, as the pasta is absorbing the liquid. You can see it's now is a thicker sauce. And this is a kind of like a bit like when we did pasta e ceci, if you remember a while ago. So it's in between a soup and a dry pasta dish. So you will have a little bit of liquid in there at the end, but not too much. So it's not a proper, let's say a proper soup. So we're almost there. The pasta is now softer. You can see when you stir it. So we'll just take a little bit to taste to see if it's soft enough, because there's nothing worse than having soggy pasta. So we want to make sure there's still a little bit, tiny little bit al dente. So we'll just have a taste. We're almost there. Right. Actually, what I'll do, I will leave it uncovered so they can reduce a little bit. And I'll just leave it in there for another minute.
Evelyn's got another question. Can you please share the URL of your YouTube channel, please? Thank you.
Yes, I'll have to send you an email with the URL. It's also another easy way. If you go to the Facebook page, there are many videos on there. If you click on the video, it will take you to the YouTube channel. But I will at the end of this thing, I will send you all an email with the link to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel as well, then you get notified whenever I add a new video. So it's a good way. Generally, when I then save the video on YouTube, I also put the ingredients in the description. So if you want to watch the video, there's also the list of ingredients that you need before you start playing the video. So you can make sure that you got everything before you start cooking. Okay, I think this is now ready. It looks absolutely delicious, and I'm starving because I didn't have breakfast this morning. So that's it. We turn this off. I will add a little sprinkle of pepper. Not as much as we did in there, because we already have a bit of chili in here. So I just have about half a teaspoon, I meant. Okay, and I'll give it another stir. Oh yes, Katrina was suggesting what are we doing next week? I thought next week I might show you a couple of traditional Italian desserts. So we might make a kind of like a special crostata next week.
What's a crostata?
Crostata, which is, you might have seen them, like, I don't know what you call them.
Pastry dishes.
It's a pastry, like a fruit tart.
Yeah.
Or can be done as well with chocolate and kind of like more naughty ingredients. So next week we might make a chocolate tart. So watch this space. I will be posting. We'll be posting there then soon. Okay, so this is ready. Let's serve it. A bit of the serving dish. Can use this to serve. You can see. Can you come a bit closer, Katerina? I just want to show you the kind of the consistency. I don't know if you can see this. So there is no real liquid in there. You're just like almost like a thick paste.
Catherine's asking if in the future would you show them how to make meringue from the bean water?
Yes, I will do. I'll have to cook some more because I don't think I got enough left this time. But I can do it. I think what I need to do for that though is that I need to get myself an electric whisk, because it takes a lot of whisking to make.
By hand it does, doesn't it?
To make you know, to make into a stiff paste.
There we go.
Okay. This is the pasta fagioli made with the cannellini beans. Okay. If you want to be posh, you can also add a little. So what shall we add?
Oh, Evelyn says, thank you so much. I'm preparing pasta fagioli today.
Here you are. This is the
Did you
finishing
hear that?
touch. Oh, great, Evelyn. I'm looking forward to seeing the finished result. So what really makes me quite pleased is just to see you cooking these dishes and to see the results posted online. So please, Evelyn, once you've done it, take a picture and post it on Facebook.
And Catherine says, yes, thank you. We will be having it this evening too. And Jenny says she may do it later, but with tinned beans.
It's fine, Jenny. That's what it comes really nice even with tinned beans, because it's kind of like all the other ingredients that we use. And let me do a little. Sorry, this is too hot. Sorry, too hot to hold. Okay, so buon appetito.
Buon appetito.
I actually forgot the last finishing touch.
Says Evelyn.
Which is just a little bit of fresh olive oil on
and
top.
Jenny also has another. She says, I read the recipe this morning.
Oh, great,
so
Jenny.
That's great that they're going to do it.
Oh, this is so nice. I know it's today. Today it's very hot, so maybe it's not the best thing to have at lunchtime. But absolutely spot on.
I'm going to try the salad.
And especially with the little bit of fresh olive oil on top.
Jenny says it looks really good.
It is delicious, Jenny. Really nice. I mean, if I've got to say so myself, all the dishes that I cook and I'll show you is because we eat them at home, and I love cooking them and eating them. So yeah, if I'm happy, then don't worry, you would be when you cook yourself.
And Catherine says, how about Katerina trying it too? Okay, I will be trying it. I'm just waiting for all your messages. So I definitely need to try it, as I've been working behind the cameras. Let me try it too.
This is delicious as well. I love this salad. Katerina, I'll get you a spoon.
Oh, I can use the same spoon. I don't mind. We share the spoon. We're fine. We're the same family. Right.
Lovely, isn't it? Very fresh. And you've got something that's very hot and something that's very fresh.
Very, very refreshing, especially on this hot day. It's really wonderful. And I love the pepper on it. It just gives it that lovely touch. There we go.
Okay, you want to try them? You've got to try the other one
as well. I should have done it the other way around, actually. Oh, that is hot.
Yeah, it is very hot. Take a little bit of pasta as well with it.
Yeah.
See if I can.
Oh, it's lovely. It's really, really nice.
It feels it warms you up. You can actually, when you eat it, it feels it warms you up from the inside out.
It's lovely. Be really nice winter dish as well, won't it? It's absolutely amazing.
I'll wait for it to cool down a little because I can feel myself starting to sweat a little bit. So
okay,
I'll wait
enjoy. I'm going back behind the camera. Bye, everybody.
So today, hopefully, how long were we? How long were we today? What time is it?
There's just another message. Let me do. George says, ours is ready to eat. Thank you, Luca.
Fantastic, George. Let me know how it is. Let me know, because it looks like you're the only one that's been cooking live today. So what do you think of it?
It's 1:15.
1:15. Okay, so today we were well on time. I mean, because it took a little bit of time in the beginning because we couldn't quite get the audio to work. I think it's about an hour of cooking time today. When you're doing beans, most of the time is the actual preparation, kind of like soaking the beans overnight, cooking them before you even start. But in a way, it's not kind of something that takes a long time of your involvement, because you just put the beans in there, carry them in water overnight, so there's literally 1 minute. And the same when you're cooking them, you put them in the pan, put them on the hob, and pretty much you forget about them. What you always have to do, just one thing with the beans, when you're cooking them, you cover them with water, you put them on a high heat, and you bring them to the boil. Once they're boiling, you keep cooking them on a high heat for 10 minutes, and they will produce a lot of white foam, kind of like, looks like scum, whatever, and you skim it off. And then after 10 minutes, you lower the heat, and you just let them cook gently for about an hour. Okay?
I have another message. George says that was easy and tastes awesome.
Oh, thank you very much, George.
And chocolate tart and ice cream sounds good for next week.
Okay, fantastic. So I hope you will try this this evening, and please let me know. Just post a photo on Facebook. It's really lovely to see if you enjoy these dishes as much as I do. Okay, so thank you very much for.
And Wendy says, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, you're very welcome, Wendy. I'm really happy to do it and to share my knowledge with you. If I can get you all eating healthily and cooking everything from scratch as we're doing, then I will have reached my mission.
And Jenny says thank you as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jenny. It's a pleasure. And I say thank you all for sharing this with me. You're making me. I know that you're getting something from me, you're getting your recipe, but you're making me happy as well, because you are listening to me babbling on for an hour.
And Catherine says, see you next week, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. See you next week, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Oh,
Bye.
Thank you. Delicious as usual from Carol.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol. I hope you're okay and your daughter is fine as well.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye. See you soon next week.